but welcome على حلقة جديدة from Cryptotalks Wednesdays. We are really proud the session that are being done. How we can really bring some value to our participants and users who are joining from the region. We are really happy of the market. Of course, it's been up and down, but we understand the volatility and we understand how the market now is operating. But we will try to, as much as we can, help and really focus our energy on bringing uh, up and welcoming a really star from the region so we can uh, enjoy and really learn from her. So let me welcome Sharifa online and then we will start. Sharifa, I really would like to welcome you on here on this platform, Dxtalks and Cryptotalks. We're really glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rudy. I'm very delighted to be here.
If you don't mind introducing yourself to the audience so that they can know you, where are you from and what are you actually doing?
Okay, so I'm from Oman, Sultanate Oman. And what am I doing? Uh, I'm really just, I think after every day, I'm more and more becoming a complete crypto blockchain NFT evangelist. My background is actually medical. I'm a biomedical scientist by education and by practice, and I did that for like 7 years. And then I resigned and jumped onto the entrepreneurship train. I probably, you could say, I'm a serial entrepreneur. In the last 10 years, I've been more involved in tech and in really just driving and pushing forward the technology innovations and startups. I also have worked in venture capital, investing in startups at the early stage, pre-seed, seed, and some Series A. I'm an active angel investor as well. And currently I'm doing all of that, but also utilizing my media presence in media career. I can't hear you, Rudy.
And I thank you. And this is the question that actually pops up now. You are into the media, you are an investor, you have different backgrounds, and what brings you to NFTs?
What brings me to NFTs? So I got introduced to NFTs sometime probably around September 2021, around August, September. And for me, the real pull was the technology, the revolutionary technology, and how it could be utilized in business. You know, seeing how just the technology that's the NFTs sit on, and then how that can change so much in the business model, and how value is being offered, and it can really disrupt a lot of sectors. That's what really brought me initially into NFTs. And then when I got in, I found that in the very beginning, and I think until now, the majority of the space is still very much artists and designers and and the likes. And I think that's probably because the art sector is the last sector that still has not been disrupted by technology. Like all other sectors, more or less, have been disrupted by tech in the last 30, 40, 50 years. The arts and music have not yet been disrupted in the same way, but I think finally NFTs are here to do that disruption. And when we say disruption, it's cutting the middleman, cutting the things in between, and making it much faster to go to market. So and then it started becoming more of an emotional thing. I really want to help artists. I want to make sure that it does work out, and that sector is really disrupted in a good way for the creatives.
Yeah, thank you with that. I think it's a very nice introduction of your background, and I'm really impressed. Now, being in an NFT in specific, what was the most important aspect of possibly Twitter playing around into being a marketing tool, or being a driver, or being an aid for NFTs? Is it really, as it says, the Web3 is actually today is being on Twitter?
I think Twitter is solving a problem and a pain that Discord is not able to solve. We all know, like, NFTs actually started with the gaming industry. So, I mean, for gamers, the whole concept of tokens and avatars and skins and doing all of that has already been there. And Discord was the playground. That was the communication platform, really, for all of the gamers. However, when non-gamers got into the NFT space, they could not get very accustomed to Discord. I think Discord has a very bad user experience for people who are not used to Discord. And I think this is why the whole, like, non-Discord, non-gaming NFT community found Twitter to be solving that pain. And that's why, like, the Twitter spaces really took over. And I think they've played a very vital role in introducing communities to each other, in projects actually gaining users with them, and, like, spreading and scaling up. And actually, hey, I think this is, I think, what Twitter has done. I think they're still doing it very well. Let's wait and see. Maybe Linktree will be able to disrupt that. They had announced that they'll be able to add the communities feature on Linktree itself. So let's see if that's going to have people, the communities, NFT communities, migrate from Twitter to Linktree. But until now, yes, Twitter has been the space and the place to be if you want to find out about NFTs, get involved with the communities, get in touch with them, and then move to the Discord once you buy the NFT.
I think it's a great information so that people can really follow. Now we're talking about you are a media, you're into media, you are utilizing your platforms. What platform first are you on traditionally, and what changed in the Twitter or the Web3 platforms?
So I've always been on Twitter. I've even like during my venture capital, startups, entrepreneurship. I've always been on Twitter. I find it to be a powerful platform for knowledge sharing and discussions. But I've also like started getting onto like the Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I do have a radio show. So when we talk about utilizing my media, so I have the radio show, but then it's also, it streams live on Twitter and on YouTube, and then it's uploaded there as well. So I think, it's difficult to segregate and say like it's this or that. I think it's always good to try and be on as many platforms as possible, but then one of them is always going to be the most powerful for me, because I do have a big followership on Twitter. So Twitter still stays as the main platform that I use, especially for NFTs.
Thank you for that. It's very interesting to understand the dynamics that are really taken into shape. And today they're changing, I think, the whole spectrum of, you said you were already and always on Twitter, but I think the utilization of Twitter in the last year has really changed. And
yeah, I think with
especially,
the sorry,
yeah,
Rudy, but
please.
with the introduction of Twitter Spaces, I think it was a very smart move from Twitter to introduce Twitter Spaces. I think that has changed the game, and it changed the landscape for sure of how you would utilize Twitter.
Yeah, and indeed, I think Twitter Spaces made the difference. And now I think the battle on Twitter between Elon Musk and Twitter, buying Twitter, trying to change Twitter into a Web3, decentralized. And this is where you started. You mentioned a word that it's becoming really decentralized. And I think that's the future of everything we are really trying to change, right?
Yes and no. I'll tell you why it's yes and why it's a no. It's a yes because that is the idea, that's the dream, that's the theory, I would say, that everything is decentralized and everything needs to be decentralized. And like it's all of this democratic concept. However, when we're looking at projects as they are, and when I say projects, be it cryptocurrencies or NFTs, and even like Web3 now, and a lot of the blockchain technologies as well. So the more the evolution of these different technologies and even sectors, what's happening is that with governments even now coming in and saying they need to regulate the spaces, and a lot of rug scams happening, rug pulls. The concept is wonderful. However, I think in practice, it will have to be a hybrid of a centralized system on a decentralized maybe blockchain, but then there has to be some kind of centralization somewhere, mainly لحفظ الحقوق, just to preserve people's rights.
I totally agree on the preservation of rights. At a certain point, also, we're all into that certain point where we want decentralization, but we want regulation to
protection,
safeguard. Indeed,
Mm.
this to safeguard the people's, especially now with a scam. I will ask you about a scam, but later on, because this is something very dear to our heart. We're always trying to preach about scamming, and then people are always falling. But I'll leave that question to the end. You are participating in an NFT project, and you are a woman, and you'd like to really empower women. Tell us more about why we need more leaders, women leaders in the Web3 space, and about your project also.
Okay. Well, to be very honest, and I'll try not to be too biased. I'm not very much for this like gender. I think at the end of the day, it's about value. It's whatever you can bring to the table, regardless of what your gender is. Now, why do we need more women? I think we need more women and men. But I do believe that we do need more women leaders to empower other women to get into NFTs. There's a lot of female artists that we knew nothing about, that have not been, through NFTs, now they are able to have access to revenue. It's a revenue stream. Previously, they are creatives and they do wonderful work. They're fantastic at what they do. But no one knows about them. They might have actually participated in the biggest project in the world, but then still, it is that project and the agency and whoever is involved in that project's name that shows. But the actual artist at the very back will never be able to have access to financial gains unless they are connected to a big project and like through a contract, an agency, and what have you. So I think for me as a woman, and why would I encourage more women to get into it? Because it gives them direct access to revenue as a revenue stream for the wonderful and creative work that they're doing. There are some fantastic artists that we have been able to discover through the NFT space in the Arab world that we had no idea existed amongst us,
I think it's a very valid point. And the Web3 is really enabling that space for, as you mentioned, it started by artists because, artists basically didn't have the easy mean. They had the means, but they didn't have the easy means of being out there. And then especially now with OpenSea and royalties and the smart contract. So the owner or the artist's rights are also preserved. So it's very interesting. I have a question from my co-host, and if anybody has a question, also please do join. I think this is a very nice conversation, and thank you again for being with us. You have, as per the co-host Tay, you have a shop on OpenSea. Which is your favorite NFT on your shop?
In my OpenSea profile, I do have quite a few NFTs, and I can't say which one is a favorite, to be very honest with you. I buy for different reasons. I do also have some that are airdropped to me, which I'm very grateful to the project owners for, sending me gifts. I do have quite a few ENS domain names. I believe in the ENS domain naming system. So it really depends. Some of them are one-of-one, NFTs because I loved the art. I loved the artist's story, why they built it and what it means. And then I also have quite a few from the PFP projects, the 10,000 plus. Usually I would buy those for the community, for the utility, and just believing in the roadmap that they have. So I don't have a favorite. They're all my favorites.
So how do you advise women in general, or actually anybody in general, to start, especially in our region, to start their, not just NFT, but their Web3 journey?
Well, I think, Rudy, the very first thing is really to understand the technology and understand the, all of the different utilities and the different blockchains. In the last space on Twitter, I have a weekly Twitter space in Arabic to talk about everything Web3. So in the last space this week, we were comparing the different blockchains for NFT projects. So basically, what is the pros and cons of Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, Polkadots, all of them. So I think it's very important to really understand the technology that's being used, and it's not difficult. If I can learn it and anyone can read up about it and you can learn it, it's not difficult. It will take some time, but at the end of the day, within like 2 months, maybe, like 6 weeks, 8 weeks, you will get a good grasp about the different technologies being launched. And then once you understand the technologies, then you can decide, okay, where do I want to be? The pros and cons between this and that. Do I want to be in a decentralized blockchain? Do I want it to be centralized? Do I want it to be a hybrid? Does speed matter to me? Do gas fees matter to me? Where is my community? About what my targeted segment? At the end of the day, any NFT project is really a business. You have to think like a startup.
Yeah,
you have a concept.
That's something I totally agree. That
Yeah,
many of us will tend to disregard that part. That
Yes.
this project is kind of a company or a startup
Yes.
that you have to take care of
Yes.
many different things, and this is where many show up with them, and they're not able. And you are an investor also, so you can add a lot of value, being on top or being involved in the company. So as an investor, I think, what do you actually look for? Do you look for same as us as small investors, in investing with NFTs, or actually on a wider scale investment?
It really depends on the project itself. So the PFP projects that I get involved with, I look for a few things. The first thing is that the roadmap has to be very clear. Of course, the roadmap also involves, like, what blockchain have they decided to be on? How clear is it? Is it executionable? Who is the team? Are they doxed? If they're doxed, can they actually execute on this? What is the scalability of this? What is the market that they are targeting? Where is that market? Are they playing in that market? Do they understand what is their go-to-market strategy? So exactly the same way that I would evaluate a startup investment or any startup, it's exactly the same. And even for the artists, and I said this before in one of the Twitter spaces as well, to artists, is that artists are creatives, but then if they want to get into the NFT space, they have to understand that now they're cutting the middleman, which means that they are the ones who have to deal with the customer directly. So they need to also start having the business hat. They need to understand the value proposition that they're putting across, what is valuable to their segment, who are their targeted segment, where do they find them, how can they reach them, what would make them depart, actually make that transaction and make that payment, and then how to keep them happy and coming back for more. So it's exactly how you would do it with a startup, even as a one-of-one artist. If you want to become successful in the NFT space, you have to understand the complete basics of starting a business and scaling the business and getting investment for that business.
I'm gonna share it now also on the chat, and if anybody has a question, please. How do they join you on your Twitter Spaces? I just added your Twitter handle. What do they need to do? Do they need to understand or actually download anything? So people, I know they understand Twitter, but to join Twitter Spaces as an introduction, so they can, we have newbies, we have OGs, we have different people. How can they join you on your Twitter Spaces, which I know they are really, and when do you broadcast?
Okay, so I broadcast let me give you a little bit of the story of why the Twitter Spaces actually started.
Sure.
So in the very beginning, as I told you, I got into the space sometime mid-year last year, and then hopping from space to space, and all of the spaces about NFTs were in English. There was nothing in Arabic at all, and then it was getting into space and then discovering that there are some Arabs in the space, but we're all there speaking in English and discussing somebody else's project and what have you. And so that's when the community started building. And then we thought, why don't we have something in Arabic? Especially, it's a huge market, and people will understand it more if it was also in Arabic. Not that they don't speak English. I think most people nowadays speak English, but then to have it in Arabic, it makes you understand even the technology underlying it, because then the terms like, blockchain, سلسلة الكتل, NFT, الصكوك الغير قابلة للاستبدال, and then you understand it directly rather than non-fungible token. What's that? So the Twitter Spaces started like that we decided let's just convene and have a Twitter space in Arabic. حتى سمينا في البداية حوار مفتوح بالعربي باللغة العربية, and now it is NFT بلغة الضاد. We have the spaces every Monday evening, 10 p.m. Muscat time. That's 9 p.m. KSA time, Riyadh time. And it's open for everyone. I mean, I usually announce it a day or two before. And the Twitter spaces that we hold in Arabic, we don't usually, it's not usually for just like coming and chilling projects and just discussing different projects. We select a topic and then bring the experts from the Arab community that can talk about that topic, so that we understand it more. So we do kind of deep dives into the topic that we have selected, be it in marketing, how to market NFT projects, the technologies themselves. We've talked about even like cryptocurrencies and like the big crash and how is that going to affect NFTs. So, I mean, everyone's open to join the space on Monday evening. And anyone who wants to speak or has something that they want to discuss, they can just reach out to me directly via DMs, and they're more than welcome to join.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now, rounding up in terms of, the rug pulls, scamming, and all of those, what's your take, and how people can really protect themselves?
So rug pulls have been happening quite a few times. I think it's a shame. I think all of us have been scammed one way or another at some point. So I think the first thing to do is just don't beat yourself up about it. Believe me, every single person I know in the space, in the very beginning, has been scammed somehow. The reason why people get scammed is they still don't understand the dynamic of the systems themselves. What I would advise is that, whenever you see a project, do your research, like really do the research. Go into OpenSea or wherever they are. Look at, even like go as deep as finding out and looking who bought this, how many times was it transferred, when did the project start, who's buying, who's selling, what are the prices. You will start seeing trends. If it's a good project and there's nothing fishy, it's going to be very clear that there's nothing fishy. If it's something that's fishy, you will notice that it's the same name coming up, buying or being airdropped so many NFTs, and then that person putting them and then pricing them at a certain value, and then just increasing the floor price to make it look like a very good project, or like make it seem like there's a lot of volume that's happening. Just be wary of these things. So when you do the research, do go deeper into where the NFTs are going, who's buying, who's basically promoting them, and why are they promoting them. But you have to do your own research for sure.
I think that's one of the most important advice that anybody can give, so they can sustain their profits or sustain their main. Just also the insanity. I think what we're passing through right now, it's really crazy how we are really afraid. Possibly the whole market is bullish on all of this. Is really affecting. So I'm gonna jump into some of the questions from Faten. What is the counter argument for artists who claim that NFTs are bad for the environment?
Okay, the counter argument is that if we're looking at environment, there's a lot of things that we're using today that are bad for the environment. Again, are you talking about just because of the cryptocurrencies that are being minted, and like is she talking about the energy that's being consumed to actually mint? I don't think, I think, it's, if we open that, it's a Pandora's box, and there's a lot of things around us in real life that affect and impact the environment. And as much as we try to avoid them, sometimes it's very difficult because there are no other alternatives.
Yeah, true. And there was a debate about, even I don't think it's only NFT. There's a big debate on cryptocurrencies in general and in specific coin. Does that, spend a lot of energy? And there was a research, and we hosted Dr. Khazaa from France to join us on this platform, I think 3 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. So he did a research, and then in his study, it turned out that the financial, because you have to compare, and then you are comparing to financial institutions, and versus the financial institutions, Bitcoin in specific is a dot in the sea in terms of power utilization.
Yes.
Versus the others. I think it's an interesting, concept, or interesting research that was done, and I think only it will always be debatable, and that debate will never end. But there should be some scientific research to be done on this as we move further.
Well, and the other thing, Rudy, let's not forget that it is very early in this industry. So innovations are coming up every day for alternatives. I mean, there are so many companies now working on innovating, recycling, even like gas and other elements to make minting greener. So there's a lot of research and actual innovations that are coming up. I think within the next 2 years, we're going to see practical application of that as well.
That brings us to the question: what do you think the future of NFTs in that space?
Well, the thing is, I think NFTs انظلموا. They have been boxed into just art and JPEGs. For me personally, I think NFTs are much more than what's being utilized and used today in the art world. Once NFTs become mainstream, then NFTs would be very, very, very important and cornerstone in a lot of the things that we do in today's world. I mean, NFTs will be used in logistics, tracking products from from the point of production and manufacturing all the way to where they reach. NFTs are being used in tourism. NFTs are being used in, of course, in art. Music NFTs are also making it possible for musicians and to actually have much, much better income from their work and directly from the community. I think NFTs probably will, and specifically like DAOs, would disrupt completely the venture capital industry, because now you're talking about crowdfunding on the blockchain, in a very democratic way. So I think we are still very early. It's still extremely in the beginning, but once they become mainstream, we're gonna stop seeing them just as JPEGs.
Yeah, that's what I preach technically every week, not just on this platform. And I think it's becoming part of my life. And especially, I have one of those slides where we go into the use cases where it's beyond just the JPEG and saving, right click and saving it or taking a photo. I go into the space of what do you call it, the value of art itself, why Mona Lisa is priceless, and so on. And then we go into other use cases where the value and what it brings. We have a question from Elias. First, he's saying amazing talk. Secondly, do you mind telling us again, when is your spaces?
Yeah, so my spaces are held every Monday evening at 10 p.m. Muscat and Dubai time. That's 9 p.m. Riyadh time.
Yeah. And a question: how can the region compete in the Web3 space as an investor? So you are an investor. How can they really compete? So,
I think it's not just in the Web3 space, but I think we need to stop repeating our mistakes. And I think one of the things that we have not benefited from a lot of the innovations in the very beginning when they were happening, because we did not see the real value and avoided investing or believing that this is going to be scalable or going to be big. So I think really, I believe the best way to really compete is to encourage the innovations, encourage the students, the startups, the innovators to come up with new things. Invest in the research part, not just let's wait until a great project comes along, because that great project will have to actually start with a lot of innovative work, a lot of research, a lot of money maybe being just burnt into understanding and iterating. So I think investment right now should really be in the innovation space within Web3. We have a lot of fantastic minds in the Arab world, in the region. I've seen some amazing developers, amazing geniuses when it comes to understanding the technology. They just need to be funded to actually come up with the next big thing. So that's how we could compete, only if we invest in research.
Great. I have a personal question, which was, I think, Oman Vision 2030. When it was put, the whole world of Web3 as a hype, metaverse, NFTs didn't exist. I know it's going to help the economy, but how will it really, in your opinion, empower more that vision towards achieving it even in a better way?
Okay, although the Vision Oman 2030 didn't specifically specify the technologies. However, I was also involved back in 2017. 2017, we in Oman, and this is government-backed company, was created, which is the Oman blockchain company. So they have been looking at blockchain from that time. Right now, the biggest use cases for that is really to streamline the user experience for citizens, be it through, and for the government entities. Again, any vision in any country, and I think Oman 2030 is one of them as well. A vision is a vision, but then the roadmap and the plan, how you execute is very flexible. So I think as these technologies come up and as more and more use cases show up, so will the execution plan, so long as it's within that vision, is to be at the forefront.
I think it's a great answer, and thank you for that. That was not a test. Sharifa, what can you give us as last words on Cryptotalks before we really say thank you a lot? And then I know you're also busy. What are your last words, and so we can continue also our format?
Well, first, I'd like to thank you for having me here with you as well. And, I think maybe just the last words is I'd encourage everybody to not be afraid of this technology, and don't listen to the FUDs, which is out. There's a lot of talk, basically, but don't believe anything unless you have yourself gone in and tried it and tested it. Make your own opinions by learning, by going in and learning. I think NFTs, as we said, are much more than just JPEGs. The blockchains are changing. There's some fantastic blockchain technologies that are coming up. We're going to see huge advancements, I think, in the next 3 years. Ethereum might no longer be at the top. Bitcoin, you never know what's going to happen. I think a lot of new technologies for sure are coming up. And one last thing, again, we didn't get to talk about it here, but there's a lot of power also in another thing, which is called the soul-bound tokens. Soul-bound tokens, I think, are going to really, probably, they will trigger that real revolution in this whole Web3 sector. because again, it's not just like gaming and art and what have you, but it's really everything else that involves us as being, as a citizen, as a human being. The soulbound token probably will change a lot of things and how things are done, especially with governments and corporates.
And ownership. I think that's
And
the
ownership.
most important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Sharifa AlBarami, I really want to thank you again for coming on this. I'll see you on Twitter Spaces.
Inshallah. نتشرف فيك.
Hopefully also in Oman. I possibly have a trip. Would always, just want to wish you all the best, all the luck. I know you're a great leader in terms of what you are doing. Was it on this space or any spaces you are really, wherever you put your hands in. Really want to thank you again for being with us and then sharing your time and sharing your knowledge and hopefully bringing value to our people and followers and audience. Really, thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Shukran. Thank you.
See you soon. Thank you. See you
Inshallah.
soon.
Yeah. Call me when you get to Oman.
Definitely. So with that, we continue our schedule with our host Tay. Tay, welcome on board. And how are you? And how was your week?
تحياتي رودي لك ولجميع المتابعين. اسبوع بالنسبه للكريبتو والاسعار رائع، يعني ما فينا نعمل اي كومبلين. انت طمنا كيف الاوضاع عندك؟
We're good. Surviving هلا the small crisis that I have, بس it worked. It's only temporary. بيمشي الحال. Otherwise we're good. Now let me خليني أعطيك أنا الكلام لإلك تبلش وهيك I'll be in the back end fine tuning some things.
تمام. تحياتي لك رودي مرة تانية ولجميع المتابعين على كريبتو توكس. نحن بهيدا الأسبوع 30 من السنة، ويك 30. الأون تشين اكتيفيتي تحسنت عن الأسبوع يلي مضى. شفنا رالي للبرايس اوف بيتكوين ليوصل لل 24179 وعمل اوبننج البيتكوين الاسبوع الماضي ب 20781 دولار. مثل ما حكينا الاسبوع الماضي، الفورميشن اللي عم نشوفها اليوم على ال 20k levels on the short term منيحة، ولكن on the long term بعد في خوف من الانفسترز بالمغامرة برأس مال أكبر، خاصة بعد ما سمعنا عن الامبيرمنت تشارجز يلي سجلتها تسلا بالبالانس شيت تبعيتهم. اليوم كان عنا Fed meeting to increase rates by 0.75% أو 75 basis points لنوصل ل Fed rate approximately بين 2% ل 2.5%. يعني العيون كلها متجهة لآخر السنة لنشوف هل الفد أو الفدرال يو اس فدرال ريزيرف حيرفع الانترست to 1% or 100 full basis points ايه او لا. كمان حنشوف ارتكل مرقت معنا هيدا الاسبوع او خبر مرة معنا هيدا الاسبوع عن الكريبتو تريدرز والايفنت يلي شفناها اليوم. بالاجمال اون تشين اكتيفيتي بعد عم تقلنا انه الشورت تيرم هولدرز محافظين على سعر 20,000. ما شفنا مبيعات كتير كبيرة على مستويات 20,000 إجمالا. الأسعار يعني ما صار في drop below 20k. It was a good week for crypto in general. و على الشورت تيرم 40,000 30,000 وال 20,000 هن البرايس ليفلز يلي الانفسترز عم يكونوا مرتاحين فيها. ومرحلة ال 20,000 شهدت شورت تيرم هولدرز، يعني الناس اللي بتحمل او اشترت بتشتري بيها البيتكوين بفتره ال 155 يوم. هول هيدا الكلاستر كان كتير كبير على المراحل ال 20,000. سو هيدا كان جلاس نود لهيدا الاسبوع، بدايه مع باينانس. باينانس or the CEO of Binance عم يوجه اليوم دعوة قضائية ضد بلومبرج. بلومبرج كتبت مقال ببداية أو ببداية شهر تموز أواخر شهر حزيران عن باينانس، وقالت فيه إنه هو أكبر شركة بونزي سكيم وأكبر كاسينو فور شيت كوينز. ما هيدا كان الاتفاق ليطلع سيزات على قناة بلومبرج ويعطي هيدا الانترفيو. تفاجأ هو بهيدا البرودكاست اللي صار، ورفع دعوة قضائية بتهمة التشهير ضد بلومبرج. هيدي الدعوة باينانس ما لها علاقة فيها، هيدي دعوة شخصية عم يقوم فيها سيزاد نفسه. من باينانس كريبتو نيوز اليوم عطى ارتكل كمان حلو عن 7 NFT scams to look out for أو 7 top scams to look out for in the NFT marketplaces. السكام الأول هو الفيشنج سكامز. نحن لنشتري ethereum based NFT لازم يكون عندنا كريبتو والت that supports ERC 721 standard، وميتا ماسك هي أشهر محفظة بهذا المجال. ولكن ميتا ماسك مؤخرا كان عندها تارجت أو كانت هدف للفيشنج سكامز involving fake ads, fake apps, fake websites يلي عم تطلب من الوالت يوزرز انه يشاركوا البرايفت كيز تبعولهم او الريكفري فريزز تبعولهم مع هيدي الثيرد بارتي، وفي malicious actors او يعني ناس بهدف النصب والاحتيال عم ياخذوا هول السيد فريزز والريكفري فريزز ويسرقوا كل ممتلكات المحفظه including the NFTs. السكام الثاني اللي عم نشوفها كثير بالماركت اليوم ال NFT airdrop scams. Scammers they will create a fake or malicious NFT project و they will promise free NFT giveaways. هلا في جزء من هيدا الجيفاويز عم بيكون حقيقي، ولكن الجزء الأكبر بيكون عبارة عن عملية نصب. وكمان نفس الفكرة إنه أنت you connect أو أنت you connect your wallet or you connect your crypto wallet to a malicious code and this malicious code will steal your crypto. Pump and dump schemes كمان one of the scamming tools اللي عم نشوفها. bidding scams يلي بيصير فيه عملية بيع لل NFT in a secondary market وبيصير فيه مثل bidding على هيدا ال NFT كمان. This is a scam. counterfeit NFTs يمكن هي من أشهر السكامز يلي بيجي واحد بيقول مثلا أنا عندي بورد ايب للبيع، هو فعليا ما بيملك البورد ايب، عنده بس الصورة، فهو عم يبيع الصورة ما عم يبيع الكونتراكت يلي مرتبط مع هيدي الصورة. customer support impersonation and social media impersonation هيدا كتير بنشوفه مش بس بالان NFT markets حتى in general in crypto markets. بيجي حدا كمان بهدف النصب بيدعي انه هو شخص تاني مثل رودي او مثل الدكتورة شريفة وبيقول انه انا رودي ضيعت الجزدان تبعي او ضيعت المصاري تبعولي please give me some crypto.
هيدي I live it on weekly basis.
Exactly. So this is the most used scams today مش بس بال NFT market in the crypto markets. دايما admins, project owners, people in the crypto space, especially the ones that have influence in the space ما بيطلبوا هيك مصاري على العلن من العالم من الأصحاب. فدايما لازم ننتبه انه مثلا التليجرام هاندل تكون نفسها هي ذاتها بالاحرف بالارقام بالاندرسكور الداش الستار اللي بتستخدم، كل شيء لازم يكون نفسه هو ذاته للاوريجينال هاندل. الموضوع اللي نحكى عنه كتير هيدا الأسبوع كان الخسارة يلي تكبدتها شركة تسلا وسجلوها على الأوبريشنال expenses of the company يلي هي مبيعاتهم للبيتكوين. يعني هيدا يمكن كان الخبر المخفي من الأسابيع الماضية يلي ما سمعنا فيه، أو تسلا ما أعلنت عن مبيعاتها للبيتكوين يلي بتمتلكه. باعت تقريبا 75% من البيتكوين هولدينجز يلي معها. كان عندها بيتكوين هولدينجز حوالي 1.5 بليون دولار وباعت منهم 75%. هلا هيدي تسجيلها بالبالانس شيت لهي المبيعات سجلت تحت impairment charge. الامبيرمنت شارج هو طريقه حديثه للاكاونتنج او للمحاسبه خاصه للشركات الكبيره بامريكا ليسجلوا الخسائر يلي بتكبدوها على مبيعات الفولاتايل اسيتس. فهيدي الامبيرمنت شارج 170 مليون دولار هي الفرق بين الفاليو يلي اشتروا هيدي الاسيت فيه والفاليو وقتها باعوا هيدي الاسيت لانهم مضطرين على مصاري، خاصه بعد ما تم تسكير احد معامل تسلا باسيا. بهي العمليه الخسائر يلي تكبدوها سجلت تحت الاوبريشنال اكسبنسز از امبيرمنت تشارج. وبنفس الوقت كمان كان عندهم هامش ربح 64 مليون دولار من عمليات بيع بعض الكريبتو يلي بتمتلكه شركه تسلا. هلا نحن كيف عرفنا انه تسلا فعليا باعت هيدي الاماونت؟ وقتها عملوا الكيو 1 ريبورت، الكيو 1 اس اي سي ريبورت، يعني وقتها عطوا التقارير الكوارترلي لهيئه الاوراق الماليه. تم تسجيل هناك انه نحن كشركه تسلا بعنا 75% من البيتكوين يلي بنمتلكه. هيدا عطى شويه نيجاتيف سنتمنت للماركت، ولكن يعني الفعلي السنتمنت المضبوط يلي صار وقتها صارت هيدي السيل اوف، هبطت الاسعار كلها لانه كان في كميه كتير كبيره من البيتكوين عم تنباع بالسوق. واليوم عرفنا مين كان وراء هيدي الكميات الكبيره. تسلا احد الشركات. مثل ما ذكرنا ببدايه الحلقه، اليوم اليو اس فيدرال ريزيرف نهار الاربعاء رفع الانترست ريتس ب 75 بيسس بوينت، تقريبا 0.75%. بعض الاناليستس عم يقولوا نحن اذا شفنا باواخر السنه 100 بيسس بوينت انكريز، يعني عم نروح على فول 1% انكريز ان انترست ريتس لنقدر نحارب التضخم اللي عم يصير. وارتفعنا فوق الليفل اوف 2.5% in Fed rates that are imposed by the Federal Reserve. هيدا مؤشر منه منيح on the long term، ويمكن يؤدي لخسائر زيادة بعد بالبيتكوين. احتمالية هيدا السيناريو يصير هي 25%، لأنه جيرمي بول ما صرح انه يكون في بعد زيادات هيدي السنه لاتليست نوفمبر ديسمبر، ويمكن يكون في انخفاض نرجع نشوف لاسعار الفايده على بدايات السنه الجديده. جي تي اي هي احد من اهم الالعاب الفيديو جيمز. جي تي اي اور جراند ثيفت اوتو بالسيري رقم 6 تبعهم جي تي اي 6 يمكن يكون عندهم ابلكيشن فور كريبتو كارنسي بقلب اللعبه. الريليس ديت عم نحكي تقريبا 2023 2024. وهيدا الخبر كمان عطى مثل زخم لاسواق ال NFTs ولا اسواق الكريبتو جيمينج، خاصة learn to earn وال play to earn platforms. وهون يعني بالجهة المقابلة ماينكرافت قالت لا، نحن ما حنقرب على NFTs ولا حنعمل integration مع كريبتو and we don't believe blockchain is the right fit for us as Minecraft. ولكن GTA عم تاخذ الاتجاه المعاكس كليا وتضم الكريبتو كارنسيز والان اف تيز بالجي تي اي ان اديشن نمبر 6. قديش verified هذا الخبر ما بنعرف. we have to wait and get the confirmations. اخر خبر معنا اليوم من الدي او جي، مثل ما قلنا بالحلقه الماضيه دي او جي هي Department of Justice or US DOG United States Department of Justice. في تصريح كتير يعني هيك مثل ما بيقولوا مرق مرور الكرام هيدا الاسبوع. ببدايه الاسبوع بنهايه الاسبوع الماضي وبدايه هذا الاسبوع Department of Justice اعطت مثل تهم لثلاث اشخاص ضمن كوين بيس بتهمه الانسايدر تريدينج. الانسايدر تريدينج هيدا شيء ممنوع بامريكا. يعني اذا انا عندي مثلا كريبتو بدها ينعمل لها لونش وانا عم اشتغل بكوين بيس، بقدر خبر خيي خبر اصحابي انه يشتروها قبل ما ينعمل لها ليستنج مشان نستفيد من هيدي البرايس جامبس يلي بتصير. او بالعكس اذا نحن بنعرف انه في شيء مشروع بده
يعمل كراش كمان
مشاكل او عم بده يبيع الكريبتو اللي معه بده كاش، بصير في كراش فيه، بروح انا ببيع الكريبتو اللي معي. هيدا هو فكره هيك الانسايدر تريدينج ببساطه. ليش هيدا مهم؟ لانه اليوم كوين بيس هي دوميننت اكسشينج ان ذا يونايتد ستيتس والدوميننت ماركت لها اليونايتد ستيتس، وليستنج على كوين بيس هو guaranteed boost in the price of the cryptocurrency. فالاكسس على هيدي الانفورميشن should be extremely privileged. وهيدي الكومبلين كانت موجهه لثلاث اشخاص، وعم يقولوا انه الارباح يلي تحققت من هيدي بيع هيدي المعلومات وصل ل 1.1 مليون دولار in insider trading allegations. الاسماء هن اسهان واهي 32 سنه من سياتل، كان البرودكت مانجر بكوين بيس. نخيل واهي كمان خيو لاسهان 26 سنه من سياتل. وفي سمير رماني 33 سنه من هيوستن، كمان هو احد الاشخاص يلي استفاد او موجهه التهم له. هيدي هي اخبارنا كانت رودي لهيدا الاسبوع. فينا نرجع لك.
ثانك يو تاي. ما تنسوا تلحقوا تاي على فلوس على تيليجرام، كمان تلحقوا شريفة على تويتر، شريفة البرامي. I think she's a very interesting person in general, and what she is doing بالweb 3 space كمان is really interesting. علي خان عنده سؤال: why market is a bit up؟
هلا نحن الكريبتو ماركتس من الاسبوع الماضي لليوم كان عندنا اول شيء سلسيوس ساغا على نهايتها. يعني عرفنا حيعلنوا افلاسهم،
في جود ستوري ات ليست مع
في
الباد
شويه جود ستوري، ولكن كمان الريليف از ذير. يعني خلص عرفنا شو بده يصير. الشركه عم تعلن افلاسها، في جزء من الناس ما حيرجع لهم مصرياتهم، ولكن الديون يلي كانت مفتوحه على الديفاي بروتوكول تسكرت. معناتها هيدا شوي عطى confidence for at least the retail investors. second thing كان عنا الفد ريت هايك اللي صارت اليوم، شيء متوقع. ما كان خبر مفاجئ للناس وحتى للكريبتو تريدرز. هول كانوا من اهم الاثنين، وخاصه انه الانترست ريت هايك ان دي يو اس ما حتكون 100 بيسس بوينتس، حتكون 75 بيسس بوينتس. هيدي كمان نقطه كان في كتير سبيكوليشن انه يكون الكريبتو يروح لل 100.
يمكن هون ضمن الاسئله تبع 7 فرود. اما ميتا ماسك has been in a hot seat lately. ورجع سألها أمين isn't white label scam included? Why isn't أمين؟ يمكن isn't.
حتى كمان وايت ليبل سكامز، يعني بتجي شركه بتقول لك نحن بنعطيك وايت ليبل سوليوشن فور بلاتفورم او فور ماركت بليس، و once you
وفي عم بسمع بيعملوا بيدنج عليها صاروا حتى يعني كمان
مزبوط.
هيدا. بدكم تنتبهوا انه كمان ما توقفوا وتفوتوا ببعض القصص اللي هن سكندري ماركتس ما خاصة، بس عم بيعطوكم وايت سبيسز تقدروا تفوتوا وزت تشتروا بروجكت NFT or whatever. So it's very interesting تنتبهوا من هالموضوع، ما تفوتوا بالسكامات. في بعض القصص دايما تأكدوا خاصة بالديسكورد انه the link is right، لانه sometimes مع مش ال identity theft عم نحكي الفيشنج you can find the link صار على موجود وين ما كان claiming to be the same with the same graphics same everything. So I think that's it. Amin, nice episode summary. Thank you, Amin. Mirna, amazing episode كمان. Thank you لأليك. وجاد, best channel. Crypto Bulls. Love you guys. And we also love you. So Tay, إذا ما في أسئلة أنا من عندي كمان. Thank you a lot على هالحلقة.
شكرا لك رودي.
To add on this so we can.
لا أنا ما عندي شيء أضيفه غير this is the last episode for July. August شهر جديد, new developments. عم نقرب على نهاية السنة, يعني things are going to get more exciting مثل ما بيقولوا. What to look for من هون لآخر السنة. You have to look for on-chain data. قديش في كريبتو عم يرجع يفوت على الاكسشينجز. بدنا نشوف openness in regulation أكتر وأكتر, خاصة in Middle East MENA region. وفاينلي بدنا نطلع على الانترست ريت hikes, inflation, unemployment و overall macroeconomic levels. كمان ما ننسى نطلع على ال overall political landscape يلي عم يصير بسريلانكا, يلي صار بلبنان. اليوم عم نسمع كمان بمصر بعض التغيرات الاقتصادية اللي عم تصير من ناحية التضخم, من ناحية الأسعار. نيجيريا والنايرا كمان اليوم كان عندهم ضربة انفليشن جديدة. so بظل هيدا المناخ كله we have to be really careful من هون لآخر السنة. Once the rally in crypto markets happen, it will be so fast that no one can catch it.
Thank you Tay. ما تنسوا تلحقوا فلوس on Telegram and Cryptotalks وعلى الواتساب كمان, و like and share and subscribe على الchannel. و thank you a lot. Thank you Tay. وما تنسوا دايما نحن موضوع الفرود وشو عم بيصير, وكانت اليوم بعتقد واحدة من السلايدز من أهم السلايدز بموضوع الفرود, شو هن كل أنواع الفرود اللي بتعرض لها كل واحد منا, حتى أنا بتعرض لها. يعني ما حدا ما صنع منا خطيئة ومنا خطأ, بس لأنه طريقة اللي عم تمشي فيها decentralization that opens أكتر موضوع الفرود, لأنه you need to always verify and verify. with that أنا بقول لكم جمعة على خير, و see you next week بحلقة جديدة من أول أب. Yes.